I'm your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I want to talk about exit plans for Africans in the diaspora. Africans in the diaspora. There are two categories of Africans in the diaspora. Number one category, African males married to African females, but they are resident in the diaspora. That is outside the continent of Africa. And then there is another set of Africans, those residents in the diaspora, but married to Europeans, Americans, Chinese, Indians, or whatever, because Africans are virtually everywhere now. Let me take the Africans married to Africans in the diaspora. Number one, let me talk to the male. Make sure that your children bear native names from where you come from, so that they don't get lost after you depart. Like the Yorubas and the Igbos, their children always have one name that is their tribe name. It gives the child a sense of identity. Make sure your children know where you come from. Have records of where you come from that can be available to that child in the future. I met a child in Bucharest. What is your name? Something something Okon. Where are you from? Nigeria. Where's your father from? I don't know. Then I told her that she's most likely from Akwa Ibom State or Cross River State. Her father went there during student exchange, the Soviet Union scholarship era, long time ago, and had her as a child. I met her in 2012. She has never been to Nigeria. Father came back, don't know whether he's alive. The child can't trace that father. It could be quite traumatic on children. So, leave enough records for your child to be able to trace you. Number two, expose them to your family members. Let them know your family members, where you come from. Members of your community in the diaspora. It is very important, not only for yourself, but for the child in future. It's quite traumatic on such children. With modern technology, you can do video calls with members of your household at home. They will discuss with your children that you've had in the diaspora, so that you can have a feel of home. What I have done is that I have built accommodations such that if my grandchildren come from overseas, they won't really miss the kind of life they had lived there. I have 8 bedrooms here with 10 toilets. Each room has its own toilet. This house has solar energy. I can ensure 24 hours electricity, 24 hours water, heated water, cold water, refrigerated water. This whole building is netted. I have mosquito nets in the rooms, So I can give them an environment where they will be very comfortable. I have another building somewhere where they can stay very comfortably. One of the things that prevents grandchildren and even children bringing your grandchildren back home is that there is nothing to accommodate these children with. I know children who came to Nigeria, they were bitten by mosquitoes. They left Nigeria to another country. When they returned for a holiday, they were bitten by mosquitoes. They never came back to this country. So as much as possible, provide a conducive environment for the wife of your son, the husband of your daughter in the diaspora, such that when they come back to Africa, they will always be wanting to come back to Africa for holidays. So provide an environment where they can be comfortable, provide security, and then pray against the spirit of ejukonemu anytime they come. The spirit of ejukonemu is let trouble be far from whatever you are doing. Pray that they don't have security issues, pray that they are not accidented, pray and take precautionary measures when they come to visit Africa. Then you, the man, make sure you have investments here that you can fall back on. The simplest investments remain real estate. If you build a shopping plaza that people can pay rents for, that you can monitor, you have something to fall back on. I know people who own schools in Nigeria, but they live overseas. They can monitor their schools with CCTV camera in their phones. I know people who live overseas who have hospitals in their countries. So you can invest in your country. If you plant palm trees, you can easily monitor and assess productivity. Join a cooperative back home where you can be remitting money into, and then build an accommodation that you can reside in if you need to come back from overseas. Segmentally plan your exit from Europe or America. Those places are not the best places for an African to get old. You must think about home and gradually expose your spouse to Africa in such a way that even when you come, she can come and go back. The world is not a global street. It's only a few hours flight to Europe and back. But it's not fair for a retiree from Africa to go and live in an old people's home. It is against his attitude to life, and he will die prematurely. I know you have the 401k in America and several social security benefits. Plan outside those benefits. Invest. Have security back home. It will help your exit plan. If you want to leave Europe and come to Africa, particularly if you come from countries like South Africa, Namibia, Ghana, Kenya, Ethiopia, Swaziland, even Uganda. I use the word even Uganda because Uganda has become a relatively more peaceful with the scaling down of the Lord's Resistance Army. So if you come from those countries where people come for tourism, Tanzania, you can easily relocate back home, and your spouse might not miss Europe or America. After all, that's where people come for tourism. She will just be on safari throughout her stay there, but have this dual residency. So always plan ahead. Then as a male who is resident overseas, married to an African or even a foreigner, you know the laws there. if there is divorce. You know how you can lose everything as a male. Please plan ahead so that you don't get suddenly caught unawares. Because sometimes the way people think over there is totally different. It's not that you don't trust your spouse. It's not that you are praying for divorce. But in Yoruba language, you say kenomake is better than ageriyo. That is, prevention is better than cure. So try as much as possible to plan for your future. Train your children early. Let them become independent. Live a frugal life, knowing that you come from somewhere where you will need to invest. One of the things I will discourage you, don't come from Europe or from America to come and contest elections in Africa. It is better to invest that money doing something that will bring development to your community than spend it on politics. Politics here is close to witchcraft and wizardry. Please don't get involved. And then if you're in ministry there in the United States, in the United Kingdom, in France, in the UK, try and establish a branch of your ministry in Nigeria. You can select a city, start it there, and be coming periodically to minister, then grow it so that you can have something to fall back on. And you can come with a lot of partners to come and grow whatever you are doing here, so that even in old age, you will remain relevant. I tell you the truth, if not for the famine, if not for this YouTube channel that I'm running, occasionally you want to communicate what is in you to your generation. If you don't have a ministry here, you will be looking for where to go and preach or do one stuff or the other. But thank God for what I'm doing here. If I want to go and deliver any lecture, I have about 1,500 students in my school here with a very comfortable hall that can match any church anywhere in this country. Then I have my radio program that I do twice a week, and I speak to a large audience. So one of the things in old age is boredom. You just suddenly find that you have so much time, very few people around you, and little to do with it if you are not engaged like as I am engaged now. So if you are living in the diaspora, don't enjoy the beauty and the technology and the sophistication and the allure and the efficiency of Europe and America and forget, and Asia, because I know there are Nigerians in Japan, in Korea, in Indonesia, and several nations in China. Don't follow the allure and forget home. My wife used to tell me when we are at a big city, we're doing well, popular. My wife said, do not forget that even Jesus has Nazareth attached to his name, Jesus of Nazareth. Dr. Apoki of Uroboland, Dr. Apoki of Ugili, Dr. Apoki of Efronto, Dr. Apoki of Otokutu, Dr. Apoki of Okokoko. So I have my footprint where I come from. It's very important for your children and your grandchildren, for yourself and for your wife. I remain your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. Remember to subscribe to this channel, share it with others. I'm going to be doing a video on your exit plan in a polygamous marriage or second marriage. This is very important. God bless you.